Hey guys, today I am doing part 2 on if you are new to homeschooling, how to get started, and this one is all about mental preparation, things to kind of think outside the box or to just adjust the way you may be thinking about things. Kind of hard to describe what this one is about, but it's practical, but it's really just more about kind of shifting your thoughts. So please stay tuned. I think this is going to be a blessing to you. If you're new to my channel, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3, and I have been homeschooling for 5 years. I have homeschooled every grade from preschool all the way through 7th grade. I've homeschooled a lot of grades, and so I feel like I have some experience. I've learned a lot along the way. I'm by no means an expert. I still feel like I'm learning every single year. This is one of the challenges of homeschooling that is different from just being a teacher. You know, a teacher in a school get maybe brand new one year, but then they can adjust, stay in the same grade the next year. I feel like I'm constantly learning, not to mention I'm teaching more than one grade at one time. Okay, let's just get into it. The first thing that I have on my list, homeschooling is just that. You're schooling at home. It is not school like the traditional classroom. You can do this completely different and customize it to your children and to yourself. There is so much flexibility, so much blessing, and yet I feel like so much more you can do. So much more you are able to learn and become and grow. You are teaching your children how to learn. You are not necessarily teaching them what to learn. Don't think of it as just facts, 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 facts. You need to teach them how to learn, not what to think, how to think. You need to model for them how to learn. So dig in there with them. You are probably not an expert on botany, so you're going to be learning along with them and showing them how awesome it is to learn all this stuff and modeling the enthusiasm, right? You're going to be teaching them and showing them that you're going to be teaching them to have a love for learning, because we're going to be learning the rest of our life, friends. I mean, look at me right now. I'm doing a YouTube channel. What was YouTube when I was in school? Didn't exist.
Did I just age myself?
You are able to have such deep and rich relationships with your children. You are there when you see their little sin nature come out, whereas if it's at school, you may or may not hear about it. Every little interaction they have, if they're at a school, you're not going to see it and be able to address it. You see it all.
Well, you see a lot of it. Maybe you don't see it all.
Being the homeschooling parent, and you can address it right away. And you can also embrace those times when your children just need a hug, when math is hard and you need to just put your arm around them and say, you know what, I know it's hard, we can do hard things. I'll tell you one of the things that I was just so surprised homeschooling. All of the sudden, my son took an interest in Rubik's Cubes. He found an old Rubik's Cube that I had when I was a kid and brought it up to me one day and was like, what is this? And I said, oh, that's a Rubik's Cube. Nobody knows how to solve it. Well, he watched some YouTube videos and learned how to solve it, and I was astonished. I think he was 5th grade when he learned how to solve the Rubik's Cube, and he is down to being able to solve it in about 30 seconds is his best right now, and he's done some competitions. But I say all that to say this. I don't know if he would have ever done that being a part of a school, because he wouldn't have had as much time to just explore on YouTube and figure out the algorithms. I mean, he knows what an algorithm is now. He wrote them down. Blows my mind. But anyway, whenever he struggles at math, I say,
You can do hard things. You learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube.
so I get to have those encouragements with my kids on a much more frequent basis. Number 2, how many times have I heard when I tell people that I homeschool where they say,
I just don't have the patience for that.
well, honey, neither do I. I am not patient, and that's one thing that homeschooling, I feel like, has magnified is, Rachel, Your fruits of the Spirit, you need to work on them. I am not patient either. I have to exercise it. I have to think about it. Homeschooling is like sanctifying in that way. I have to think about intentionally being patient with my children when I start to feel frustrated, because I do not want to make this schooling experience a drudge for them, and I want to have good and happy memories. I don't want them to leave my home and feeling like mom was always yelling at them. So it ain't about patience, honey. As Heidi St. John, my favorite podcaster, says, it's about perseverance. So number 3, what works for one kid may not work for your other kids. Boy, have I learned this. Each of my kids has a completely different learning style. My oldest kid is not like me. My second kid is not like me. Thank God my third child thinks a lot like me. God knew I could not handle one more challenge, so he created a little mini me with my third one. The lessons that I learned with my older child, even the curriculums that worked well for him, I found it's completely different with my second, who was diagnosed with ADHD. So that is a whole different ballgame, ADHD. So don't be afraid if a curriculum isn't working to ditch it and try something new. Figure out what works for you, because if mama don't want to do it, it ain't gonna get done. But also figure out what's gonna work well for your child, what's gonna help them learn the best. There has to be a compromise there between mama and child, what's gonna work. I might do a whole video on ADHD and what I've learned and what's helped with that and what we're still learning for how to deal with that. Because like I said, it's a whole different ballgame. And again, Facebook groups, very helpful for that. So if something is working, there's all kinds of shiny new curriculum out there. It is so easy to get distracted, but I'm telling you, if something's working, just stick with it, because you may end up spending a lot of money switching to something new and then it doesn't work. And don't compare. Don't compare your children to what you were. Don't compare your children to others. Children have different styles of learning. They absorb things differently. They have different talents, and they learn at different rates, but they are going to get there. Trust me. Homeschooling, your children are learning so much, and so much more than a public school where they're not getting the same one-on-one attention. Maybe they're just being kind of pushed along. Like, think about this. If your child in a public school or another school takes a math test, and let's say they get a 70% on it, they're going to move on to the next lesson. You know what? Even if they flunk it, they're going to move on to the next lesson. In homeschool, if my kids get less than a 90%, we redo the problems that they missed. Sometimes we might even if they only missed 1 or 2, we'll go over them and make sure they know what they missed. It's not like I'm gonna hold them back, but if they only get 70% or 60% or 50%, we'll redo the lesson. This is one of the huge benefits of homeschooling, is you can work towards mastery and making sure that that foundation is solid before you're moving on. And if you're a really smart kid, you can move fast. So it is at their pace. It's awesome. Number 4, mama, be in the Word. You cannot do this well if you are trying to do it on your own. You need the Lord every single day. You need His strength. You need His encouragement so that you can be patient, so that you can exemplify the fruits of the Spirit. So I have another video that I'll link below, a devotional that I wrote for my fellow homeschool mom friends. Number 5, keep your schedule loose. You might decide that you want to schedule things by the hour. You might decide you want to schedule things just a routine. If you are one of those homeschool moms who every single day goes according to schedule, let me know below. How do you do it? How? I have rarely ever had a day that went according to how I planned it to go. So this is where that grace comes in again. Did you do what the Lord wanted you to do? Don't beat yourself up if you didn't get it all done. Be flexible, and God will fill in those gaps if you are putting him first. But keep your schedule loose and don't beat yourself up, and maybe consider just having a routine. Don't necessarily schedule things by the hour. Now, if you have harder subjects, so like for example, last year when my son was learning Latin with classical conversations, the amount of work that he could have done each day for just that subject, he could have spent 2 hours on it. Time box. Don't make any subject go longer than an hour. I mean, especially for your younger kids. Time box it. You can still call it homework and let them work independently on it later. But have a basic routine. You don't have to keep working on something until it's all done. You can say, nope, we've worked on it for an hour. We're moving on. Number 6, I mentioned this in my part 1 video. What's your style? Do you like the classical approach, the traditional, unit studies, Charlotte Mason? There's delight-driven learning, which is where, again, you're doing the basics of reading, writing, and arithmetic, but anything else beyond that is according to your child's interest. You have a child that's interested in art, find all kinds of things there and dig deep into them. You don't know what your child is going to become someday. They may not become a mathematician. They may not become a historian. They may not become a geologist. They may decide to grow up and just become a graphic designer. So maybe they have an interest in technology and you want to harness that enthusiasm. I'll be honest, that's one of the reasons why I'm starting this YouTube channel, because I have a son who is interested in technology. And so we're learning YouTube together. We're going to do the analytics of the channel together, and we're learning about marketing together. He's interested. I want to share encouragement. So this is something that we're doing together, kind of like a little technology subject here. The realizing your style, you may not realize it right away. You may need a year under your belt. You may need to observe your children, and that may be something that kind of progresses and that you learn. Adjust what you do. The next thing you need to keep in mind when you're homeschooling is enjoy this time with your kids. Children are not going to be around forever. They grow up. These are such precious years. There's that saying that say the days are long, but the years are short. And I started homeschooling when my oldest was 3rd grade. I can't hardly believe he's in 8th grade. I mean, I'm telling myself it could be 5 years and he's out of my house in college. Where has the time gone? His voice is deepening. He's maturing, and I'm looking at him and remembering my little baby boy who used to come and sit on my lap while we rocked and cried and said he didn't want to grow up because he didn't want me to quit rocking him. I want my little boy back. Those time flies by. Give your children hugs. Take some time off. Take a school day off and just sit on the couch and watch the Andy Griffith Show together, or go to the library and just get a bunch of books and just snuggle and read together and do something fun and get outside and do some physical activity. Go ride your bikes with them. Just enjoy playing with your kids while you can. Number 8, don't collect a bunch of curriculum and supplies for the future. This was one of the things that I did. I see a great deal at a garage sale, or you'll see all these used things for sale. Because I want to save on shipping, I'm going to buy all of our math curriculum for the next 5 years. I do not recommend doing that. Because again, what worked for one child may not work for another one. Storage becomes an issue. I feel like I'm constantly trying to get rid of the stuff. So just stick to what you need for 1 year. Lower your expectations. It's not going to be perfect. Embrace the chaos. This is a special time at home. You have a special calling. You get to train up and equip your children. There's a very real spiritual battle going on in our culture right now, going on in this world. It's since the beginning of time. But God has called us to raise these children, to train them up in the way they should go. You do not want to send a child into a battle before he's ready to fight, before he is fully equipped. And that is the most important thing in this schooling, is this preparing them for that battle. Not preparing them for a career, That career is secondary. We need to prepare them for what their purpose is on this earth, and that is to be an ambassador and a disciple for Jesus Christ. You're building habits, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Everything else is kind of just bonus, and follow your child's talents and path. Trust God, be in His Word, let Him lead you. He's created these children. I have prayed so many times, especially with my ADHD child. Lord, you have created her. You know how her brain works. And she's my child. We've prayed together because we have struggled. We have struggled with some subjects. In fact, the tears that we had sometimes because of our struggles was what first tipped me off. I wonder if she has a learning disability. But she and I, before I even knew that, we were praying together. And I pray with my children every single morning that God would help this be a productive day. And God, that He has created them. He knows how to give them understanding better than I do. You can do this. God has given you all the tools that you need. There's lots of encouragement out there, podcasts, Facebook groups, co-ops, your church, and YouTube. Share this channel. If you know any other new homeschool parents, share it. Encourage us. We encourage each other here on YouTube, and I love YouTube. I have found so many helpful things. I go to YouTube when I want to look at a new curriculum and I want to see the inside of it. I go to YouTube whenever I'm like, oh, my schedule's not working. What do other people do? I have found so many great ideas on YouTube, even watching day in the life videos. I've gotten some great ideas for first day of school, for last day of school, for tradition. So there is so much support out there for the growing homeschool community. Get on this train and let's ride it out.